Hey guys, this is John from US Dash Camera. Today I got a review on the DDpai Mini. Now this is a pretty cool camera because it's really affordable and it has a lot of features. But not only that, it actually looks a lot fancier than what you'd expect for the price. Now this was sent to me for review by GearBest, so I'll provide a link down below like usual. As of recording, it's currently at $70.98. So it's really cheap. Now one of the things that caught my eye is I'm a really big Blackview fan. I like their black cylinder design, and that's what this one looks like, but it's even smaller than any of the Blackview cameras. So it is a Chinese camera, and here's some of the features. So it does do 1080p at 30 frames per second in H.264 encoding. It does have a Sony 2.9-inch Exmor CMOS sensor, 1.8 aperture with a 140 degree wide angle, supports up to 32 gigabytes, and besides having Wi-Fi, it also has a wireless remote that can take pictures or video clips and save them to your phone, so it's pretty cool. Not sure what any of this really means. I'm sure it's some sort of warranty card. Packaging is pretty nice. I like that it actually looks like high quality because a lot of cameras from China come in very generic boxes. So it does come with an instruction booklet. A lot of this packaging reminds me of Apple. It seems like everyone tries to make their packaging like Apple. It's been that way for many years, but it's sort of nice to see dash cameras doing this also. In the end, it doesn't really matter if the camera's not good, so of course we're going to give it a thorough testing. But at first glance, I was very impressed. One other thing I will be showing a lot of is the app, because the app is very, very thoughtful and full-featured. It's a lot more than most typical dashcam apps, so that's going to be a big chunk of this review actually. So let's put this away in case I want to look at it later. There is actually a parking mode feature that's not explained at all in the instructions. I did later look at the instructions, but it doesn't really talk about it. I looked online, I couldn't find much online either, so I'll explain that also later in the video. So here's the camera. Like I said, it looks a lot like a Blackview camera. It's bigger than one of the rear Blackview cameras, but it's smaller than one of the DR3500 cameras. Similarly to the Blackview cameras, it does have this little cover on the side where you put the memory card in. Then there's the micro USB for power and a reset switch on that side, speaker on the other side. So this does actually have voice alerts, just like a lot of other Korean brands, which I really like. Here's the button that allows you to snap pictures or quick video clips to save to your phone. Now there's one more small box in here with the accessories included. There you can see the power adapter. It just uses a USB cable. Here's a little bag full of a few small accessories like extra adhesives, some cable ties, a couple plastic pry bars. So this is the adapter that you plug the USB cable into. You can see it does have a 2.1 or 1 amp plug. So you want to make sure to plug the camera into the 2.1 amp one. And here's the USB cable, and it does have the 90-degree angle plug for the camera side. So it's a pretty basic set. One thing this camera doesn't have is GPS, but that's actually something I mentioned many times in the past, that I don't even really need GPS that much. If I could save money and lose GPS, I probably would. So this little button does use a watch battery, so I'll show you inside real quick. Just uses a small circular adhesive to stick onto your dashboard or steering wheel. And you can see here it's a pretty standard watch battery, CR2032. So I'll get it into my car now and I'll let you hear what it sounds like when it turns on. So once you download the DDpai app from the App Store, you'll find it in the SSID list, or the Wi-Fi list. The password is going to be 123456780 by default, and of course you can change it later. So this is what the app icon looks like, and this is pretty cool because it's almost like they're building a whole social network of DDpai cameras. Now this first one is trending, which for whatever reason didn't load, but this is the activity list, and this isn't loading really either because where I live right now is sort of a cellular dead spot. If I'm not connected to my home Wi-Fi, it goes really slow, so it's not reflective of the DDpai service. But again, here you can see there's just a feed of people's videos that they're sharing, and this is something that I haven't really seen before in any of the cameras I've used, so I think it's really cool. So now let's take a look at the rest of the app. Of course you can get a live feed with your camera. Then from the camera, it looks like a lot of other Wi-Fi camera apps, but there is a lot more to it actually. So there you can see the resolution, it's up to 1080p. And you might not see what's going on here, but when I hit that second button, it's switching between 16:9 or cinema mode. So there are black bars that show up on top. This camera button allows you to either capture a picture or a 10-second video clip each time you push that button. The first time I looked at this, I didn't even know what they were talking about when I hit that button. Now with this feature, you can actually trim video clips or actually combine really long clips together, and it's really intuitive or really easy. All you do is just select these bars on the bottom, set them to the time you want. You can flip through all your videos based on the time they were recorded very easily. Then once you find a clip you want, you just hit this download button. And there you can see it says it's starting. This is only going to be about a 15 to 30 second long clip, I'm sure, but it's a good example. So now let's go ahead and take a look in the file list. Now that top left one, 13 seconds, is the one I just saved. So I think this is a really cool feature. To be able to combine clips or edit clips in the app is something that I think all the apps should have, because a lot of dashcam apps are really simple. So I like that DDpai is actually putting a lot more effort into it. Here you can see there's a share button when you're viewing a clip. So you can share it in a text message, Facebook, any of your cloud storage apps. Up here you can save it to your phone. You can favorite it. And then this one that you can't really see because of the white cloud is repeat. So if you hit that, it'll repeat the video once you finish watching it. Then there's a delete. So again, that's a pretty cool feature. Now going back to the live view feed, some of these options actually are in multiple places in the app, so it might be a little redundant. But there you can see you can mute it. You can take a picture of the video clip. There, I accidentally went to the file list. Then on that bottom left is the camera settings. So in the camera settings, you can change the password here and the name of the camera. Here's the volume adjust. And James Gunn. Now, recording with sound, I typically recommend always having your audio recording on. Capture with video clip means when you hit that button, if it's activated, it'll save that 10-second clip. So I'll turn that on. Image quality again, full HD, which is also found on the live view menu. Video mode, which is what I was talking about before, the 16:9 or the cinema mode. 2.4:1 cinema mode. Then in the advanced settings, you can see the park guard is like a parking mode with time-lapse recording. So when you do park guard with time-lapse recording, it'll actually only record 1 frame per second. Here you can see I just paired the button. So then we got the date and time display, or start song is to disable the sound it plays when the camera turns on, and the G-sensor sensitivity. So it does have some pretty in-depth storage management, so it does give you a pretty visual display on how much you're using. Even shows that graph along the bottom. Then the last feature we have is the camera info. There is one more menu where you have your user. So this is where you can actually customize your profile, and people can follow you just like Twitter or Spotify in a way. And then a lot of these settings are very similar, but you can see here there's just some more storage info. Then you can set whether or not your phone will actually download the clips when you click that button. So these are a lot of redundant options again, but here's some more info. So I wanted to demonstrate the button, and I'm going to throw something up on the dashboard and then hit that button. You'll see the light turn blue. Then when we come over here, I gotta refresh it, and you'll see it'll start downloading the file. Sometimes it doesn't show up right away, so if you back out and go back in, it'll actually start downloading. You'll see when I play the file that it actually saves a few seconds before I hit the button, which is pretty nice. If you put the button on your steering wheel, you could probably capture some clips pretty easily if your thumb is on it or near it all the time. So here you can see it's right next to my Blackview DR650 2-channel. So it is quite a bit smaller, but like I said, it's bigger than the rear camera on the Blackview. So now let's take a look at some video clips. And this is probably the biggest downfall of this camera. While it is 1080p 30, it is pretty low bit rate, hitting around 8 megabits per second. So while the colors do look nice, and you can read license plates from a pretty close distance with not much motion going on, once there's a lot of motion it can get harder to actually read license plates. So as I pass this SUV on my left, you can try pausing it and seeing if you can read the license plate. So this camera doesn't have the best video quality, but for a $70 camera, for how fully developed the app is and how it has the remote button and the way it pairs with your phone to save clips, it's sort of a trade-off. The video quality is definitely good enough if you just want to capture an accident, but you might be out of luck if someone hit and runs you. Now the other cool feature I'll show in just 1 second, and it'll go really quickly. You'll see it looks like it's in fast motion. That's actually the parking guard with time-lapse mode. So now I'll slow it down to 0.125 times the speed. So what I did is I hooked it up to the Vicovation hardwiring kit, where I just have to plug the 12-volt socket into the Vicovation hardwiring kit, and my car still powers it while my car is off. And then after a while, the camera senses it hasn't been moving for a while and starts recording this parking guard mode. And here you'll see me coming up. So while it's different than other parking features I've used, it works surprisingly well because each frame is really clear. So I can pause it and see myself very clearly. So here's some night footage. Now the night footage, while the brightness seems to be okay, it does look very blurry and grainy. So It's not that great, but again, for the price, $70, and how many other features this camera has, it's pretty cool. It's not like the night footage is so terrible you wouldn't be able to make out the color of a car. You know, it's not that bad. My headlights actually light up the road just fine compared to some previous cameras I've used. But if you really want the best quality footage or really good night footage, this definitely isn't the camera for you. Now, one thing to point out, you can hear the sound was actually in these night clips. The microphone is not very great. It's very muffled, and now I normally drive around with music playing, but that'll get flagged for copyright. When there is music playing and I've listened to clips, it sounds very muffled, so it's not the best audio quality either. But at the same time, you'd be able to hear a conversation, and that's really what matters, I think. Or you would be able to hear, say, tires screeching right before a car hit you. So overall, I feel like if you can get over the low bit rate and the less than stellar video quality, especially the night video quality, I think this is a very great option. It's very comparable to a Blackview camera in features and form, and I know a lot of people don't like the Blackview cameras, but they still are very good sellers, so a lot of people out there still like them. The cheapest Blackview camera, I believe, is around $120, and that doesn't include Wi-Fi or GPS. This camera doesn't include GPS either, but it does have Wi-Fi. It does have a parking mode, and it does have a really nice form factor. It's small, sleek, it's black, so it's not as noticeable in your window. It really is a great package, and again, for only about $70. Now, that $70 price is from GearBest, who, like I said, sent this unit out for review, so I will provide a link down below. Now, they don't always have it in stock. I'll provide a link to Amazon also, but it's about $30 more on Amazon. But even at $100, I do believe that's actually a pretty good deal for this camera. Now, another thing I should mention, comparing it to Blackview again, is I think this app is way better than Blackview's app. And Blackview's been around for years, so I'm not totally sure how long DDpai has been around, but they seem more relatively new to me at least, and for how fully developed and nice looking their app is, that really impressed me. One use I thought of using this camera for is a rear camera, because there's still a lot of 2-channel cameras that have 720p rear camera, or they might have full 1080p front and rear, but then the bit rate's not that great. Most people pull into parking spots, so I would really recommend using this in the rear window and having it connected to something like the VicoVision, and I'll provide a link to the review of that too if you don't know what I'm talking about. And then using the parking guard with the time-lapse mode, it would make a pretty nice parking camera or parking guard camera for a cheap price. Then up front, you know, you could use something with better video quality for when you're driving, but this would do good enough just to record a hit and run in a parking lot where the motion is going to be slow anyways. So that pretty much wraps up my review of the DDpai Mini. Obviously, I really liked it and recommend it. If you like this video or my other videos, I'd appreciate if you hit like and subscribe. As usual, drive safe, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.